Hi, everyone. It's time. It's that time again. This is Shelly Dressel, and I channel the universal light beings, and tonight is one of our sessions for that. So I'll be streaming it live on Facebook and Rumble. I did post it on YouTube after the fact. I wasn't actually streaming and didn't get any dings. So I'm going to continue to now put it up on YouTube also, but it won't be streaming on YouTube because I don't want to take a chance. I don't know if it was because I was streaming that I got knocked off or what, or just the information or the fact that 2 years ago it was just last summer it happened. Anyway, who knows? But these are the two places where I am. I'm live. People have sent in their questions like they always do. And I had a couple of things myself that are going on. I heard someone say something about, hey, Judy, good to see you, about eclipse season. And someone was asking me about that in a private session earlier today. And they told me 5. I'm not, I don't do astrology or things like that, so I can't say myself 100%, but I just thought that was very interesting. And I don't know how many eclipses there are because I think they take place in different parts of the world. And I know the big one that's really going to make the changes is coming across the United States. There was one that they had back in 2016 that came across where I live, like up in the mountains about 2 hours north of here. And that was where I got all sorts of information about Avalon. And so some friends of mine and we went up there. And it was a pretty cool energy. It literally did make everything dark. And we have these things called cicadas, and they came on and started making, like, the nighttime critters were making their noise. Now, we were at a place with a lake, and in the nighttime, people that have those solar powered lights, even those solar powered lights came on. So it wasn't 100% dark because of the lights, but it was very interesting, very interesting. And so if anyone can experience an eclipse like that, do so. If you have an opportunity, it's a very cool thing to experience. Okay. So there are, I'm trying to think. I think last time when Brysentia was talking about, like, people putting AI, putting things in the brain, and she was pretty strongly against it. And so I took that 10-minute segment out. So I put it also as a mini ULB, and it was Brysentia speaking. So that's the only one I've done in the 2 weeks since the last time we got together. It's funny. I never know what's going to happen. Sometimes I feel a lot of energy, sometimes I don't. And so that was it for this time. What else have I heard? There's a lot of energy that's coming into the earth right now. And people, one of the questions that I'm sure that they can talk about it, but one of the questions was, is it still going to be that people that are really low vibration are going to either die or shift? And there was another thing, I forget who was talking about it. Someone was talking about it. Like, is there literally going to be the low earth and the high earth? And how is that? So I feel as if that's one of the things that they'll talk about tonight, because there were several different people that have been asking me about that, and I've seen it posted in various places. We continue to have just so much energy that is coming in. We continue to be in this place of awakening humankind, and it's an exciting time, but it can also be very frustrating. I know a lot of people feel as if they still are in limbo. I know a lot of people tell me that they feel as if their mind is just like fuzzy. They can't make decisions. They have trouble remembering different things. People talk about ringing in their ears. People talk about headaches, and all of these things can be indications of the ascension process, but they also can be just you integrating whatever it is that's new that's going on with you. So it's funny because it's never all one or all the other. It's always like a blend or a combination of different things. Okay, so if you would like to work privately with me, I do have times available. We're getting this close to being able to put up a calendar, and I think that'll make it easier for people. That way you can just look at the days and see what day works for you. But if you are interested, just send me an email and I'll talk to you, and we'll get something worked out. I don't channel the universal beings during a private session, but it'll be other light beings. It's always high vibrational energies, some angels, some the goddess of creation, just very light frequencies. So it gives you a perspective of looking at your life from that higher perspective, and it's kind of a cool thing. Sometimes it's about shifting the energy, sometimes it's about just getting information, sometimes it's about healing. So if that's something that you're interested in, several of the people that I see on here have had sessions with me in the past. But if that is something you're interested about, or even just want to ask a few questions to get more information, then feel free to send me an email. Shelly this is crystallinetransformations.com or goddesslight.net. All right, well, that's it. Here we are. I know that more and more people are going to be coming into the room, but I think I'm just going to jump into it. Gee whiz, it's only 6 minutes after. I know, well, Maggie is Australia. I don't know if they changed the clocks in Australia or not, but like when I was talking with, was it Alexander or someone else that was in Europe, and they hadn't changed the clocks yet. So some people never change the clocks, and some people change it at different times of the month. And that's why we always get this kind of in-between flux. Okay. Well, good to see you, Ken. Nice to see you. And so many people here. Yay. All right. Well, let me just get quiet and we'll see who's going to come in and speak with us. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia. I chose to be the first one to speak this evening because there is so much to say about each one of you as we're here at this critical phase of the ascension process. Many of you, let me rephrase that. Because you're in this phase where everyone is ascending, where everyone is focusing on that, and by everyone we see there are millions, if not billions, of people around the world, be it consciously or unconsciously, people are considering, how can I live my life in a better way? How can I find joy within my life? How can I live in a way that is not only going to benefit me, but my family and friends? And that is one thread of the underlying energy of ascension. When you look at your planet, you have been through the ascension process multiple times in the past, and each time it comes with a different frequency and a different experience. Those of us, such as myself, that come from the omniverse, have not participated in the ascension process in these other experiences. The people that participated in those were those that came from the planets directly, that were directly involved with the people as they became, number one, as it created humanity, but also number two, as these other various planets were infiltrating your earth plane so as to populate it with their species. So one way of looking at that is all of the different time frames that you've been upon the earth. There have been multiple levels of not only species, but humanity, but the way in which people interact with one another. This has become the melting pot of not only the various people that are you humans that come from the different countries or continents on your own planet, but it is now also the various species that are coming from out within your universe. Some of them are there right within your own galaxy. Some of them are coming from far reaches of your universe. So it's not just about humanity going through this ascension. And that's what caused us, those of us that were in the omniverse, meaning we come from a different universe. We come from a different universe that is about consciousness. It's about love, it's about awareness, it's about interacting with people, but we don't have the physical body like humanity has. We don't have the digestive system like humanity has. And we are here because we can anchor that very high light frequency. And that is something that is different about this ascension. You have heard this many different times over the last 10 to 12 years. The fact that this ascension is different. This ascension is the final one. And I know that many of you have already heard that not only is Earth ascending, but the other planets that are around you and that are within your universe are ascending, which causes then not only the Earth to ascend, but all of the planets, all of the universe to shift into a higher frequency. And that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. So we that come from where I'm from, which is again the omniverse or the multiverse, whatever word you want to use for it, we are somewhat the anchors of the higher vibrational frequency. And I've said that I'm the anchor of the fifth, but honestly, I come in here at probably the 10th to 12th or even higher vibrations than that. When I first came in, which was around your time of 2016, 20 something, something like that. It's been, goodness gracious, almost 7 to 8 years now. It was very hard for me to communicate. And as I've worked through this individual, she perceived me as this light energy that would then stream through her, that would communicate through her, but didn't really have a lot of details. And the flow was not real easy or comfortable at the beginning. However, now that I've been able to integrate so much of my energy, now that not only the universe, but your planet has let go of so much of the lower vibrational energies, that's what's allowing me to come in and anchor and distribute, you could say, the higher vibrational frequency. So how does all that work for you? And what does it all mean to you? Many people can interpret this in many different ways. There is no one way. There is no right or wrong way for experiencing this. This is simply about understanding that high vibrational frequencies come from many different sources, and all of them are available to work with humanity, not only in their unconscious energies, but in their conscious energies. And everything that's been within the human that's been unconscious is moving forward to become conscious within them. This is one of the reasons why you have more and more people, when they call the awakening process, it's simply meaning that what's been unconscious within them is now becoming conscious. And that is why we are here. And now when I came in, it was just me. There were not many others of me. Maybe what did I say one time? I want to say 2 or 3, literally 2 or 3 essence of us that had conversations there. Just as you had a clarion call about 100 years ago, 80 years ago, that said, hey, we're going to need people on earth. We need the masters. We need the ascended masters. We need the people that understand energy. We need you on the earth to be human, to go through this process to anchor it. Just as that was going out, so too on the other side of things, there was a call that went out to us, not necessarily as long ago as what you needed to have this part, but there was literally a call that kind of went through the multiverse saying, this universe is in the process of ascending, and they need people on many different aspects, or they need energies to come from many different aspects so as to anchor it and so as to support it. This is why this is happening for you. This is why it is able to take place at this time. So it just turned out that I was reaching out for people. I actually knew Shelly in other incarnations. She has no memory of it, but I have worked with her in other incarnations. And so when she's got very emotional about it because it's triggering a memory for her. But when the clarion call went out, she was like, oh no, I'm not going to Earth again, not doing it again. No. And then there were a group of individuals that were in the same place that had been on Earth, that had ascended off, that had been through all the junk, you could say, in the past, and they did choose to come in. This is one reason why you have such a huge population. And when you look at it, what is she called, a baby boomer? It was after war. There was this huge influx of people that were being born. Well, they can call it the baby boomer. They can call it people coming home from war. But truthfully, what it was anchoring those people that were the old souls that were able to set up this foundation. They started coming in the early 1940s and all the way through. And then through the periods of time, you had different groups of people that came in that had different levels of frequency. So this is why I say it's not just one group of people, it's not just one energy, it's multiple levels with multiple different frequencies, and it creates a harmony. It creates, if you listen to the sound, if you ask to know what is the sound of ascension, and you get quiet and you listen with your inner ears, you will begin to pick up on these different tones. Sometimes as you've been in meditation or as you've had a healing process or whatever it may be, you might have heard tones and pitches. I'm not talking about the ringing in your ears. I'm talking about times when it sounds like music and you have that sense of music. Now, as you begin to listen to it, because your frequency is raising up enough, you will begin to discern the various tones, the various frequencies, the various energies. And that is another way to help you to become anchored, to help you to have the emotional support that you're seeking, to have the energy support that you are seeking. It's not so very long ago that many of you felt as if you were all alone. You did not have a community. You didn't have anyone to speak to. You were just winging it and felt very different from one another. I can hear some of you saying, yeah, and that has not changed. I know this is the case. However, it has changed more than what you realize. You are connecting with one another from that unconscious frequency, and it's a very solid energy. It's like this solid band of energy that links with all of you, that is helping you to be able to be in this higher frequency. It is also helping you to open up your consciousness and open up that greater amount of love, that greater amount of light. Okay, so there was a reason why I wanted to give you that really in-depth foundation, and I've lost my conscious thought along the way. So let me take a second here and regroup. I guess one of the reasons that I wanted to speak up about this is to speak to you of the importance of taking time for yourself. Not everyone is able to do so. Many of you have families and jobs and friends and commitments, sometimes 2 jobs, sometimes multiple different things, where you're literally going from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. However, for every person on the planet, if they can find a way to take, be it 5 minutes, be it 10 minutes, be it whatever length of time is possible for you, to just literally go inside of yourself and breathe in and out, and breathe down that calm, balanced energy, that is going to do more for the ascension process than you can even imagine. Because when just one person does it, it expands the energy and the consciousness. And then you get 2 people and it doubles that. And then literally when you get thousands of people doing that, it's multiplying it by that much more energy, and it makes it easier for other people to then tap into it. Those that are too busy, those that haven't heard about this channeling, those that haven't heard about, consciously linking into that. And then what is going to be the foundation of that for you? It is you expanding your own soul alignment. The other aspect, or the key aspect, I keep talking about it as your consciousness. But what is your consciousness? Your consciousness is your soul expressing as you in this lifetime. Your consciousness it can be shaped and influenced by many different things, but that core essence that is your soul, that is you, coming down within you, anchoring within you, expanding, everything that goes along with it, is what is also not only bringing more of the light into this planet, but it is also supporting one another. You are at the end of this process. And when you're at the end of a process, that means you're at the beginning of the next process. Some of you, well, we've spoken at various times about how 2024 was the completion cycle. Many people thought 2023 was the completion. You could look at it that way, but there was so much that was a residual. There was so much that had not yet taken place. So 2024, as it's in the process of opening up and taking everyone to that higher frequency, that higher potential, that greater amount of love, that greater amount of consciousness, it is forcing people to complete whatever process was left for them to complete. So there is not just one thing and not another. It is about everything working in harmony with one another. So it's a very beautiful thing to see. And for me, the reason that I wanted to bring this up to you is that I communicate through tones and frequencies. I also perceive things as patterns. And so one of the ways that this is coming up to me is I literally see these waving patterns of light and energy that intermix with one another. And as those patterns intermix with one another, it creates like something that becomes a solid anchor in one part of your planet. And we're talking about the surface of the planet. There's a great deal that is within the planet that is also having an impact. But this is what I'm talking about. Those of you that walk upon the surface and those of you that are living upon the surface and that are anchoring the energy in this space. So be love, be conscious, be aware, and let that be the foundation for everything that you do. Take that 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it may be and really nurture yourself. Now, okay, I just heard someone ask a question. So the question was, when I'm out walking, like, can I sit in the backyard amongst the trees and the grass? Absolutely. That's another way of doing it. And even if you're out there, say, playing with your family or doing other things, you're still connected into the earth in that way. If you take a walk in a park, if you take a walk in the mountains, if you know what, there's so many different ways that you can connect with the earth, and any of those ways are allowing you to not only anchor, but allowing you to expand your consciousness and allowing you to step into this reality. Okay, so that kind of opens up the doorway. I know there's some questions, but let me speak about this for a moment. You have multiple lifetimes. You all are aware of this, but you have multiple lifetimes that you live, and many of these lifetimes you're living at the same time, and some of those lifetimes may be in another time-space reality, what you might consider your history upon the earth, or what you might consider a life out in the universe on another planet. But these other lifetimes are things that are happening that are also anchoring you, that are helping you to be able to have the consciousness to make whatever changes are needed for you to make at this time. Many people can have as many as 100, my understanding from looking at the earth, can have as many as 140 aspects of their soul all living in different realities at the same time. But probably about 50 to 80 years ago, that was diminished down quite a bit. Instead of a soul being spread in 140 different directions, your soul said instead, you know what, we're going to focus on maybe 15, 20, some as many as 50. But the reason for that was that your consciousness, your direct alignment with your own soul was now giving you much more of its energy than when it was spread into those, you know, those finer lifetimes, you might say. And this is what some people will call the monad. So as your monad was working with you, it anchors you in multiple different ways. And that is one of them, by not having so many lifetimes and having fewer lifetimes. Okay, I guess that's it. It's so funny because even though I've done this for so long, and I think I'm pretty good at being able to communicate, I feel like when I'm speaking through Shelly, it's like there's a block of energy. We talk about it, I share it, and then it just stops, and then we got another one, another block. We go through, we share it, and then it just stops. So it's just interesting. Okay, I do have one other thing that I wanted to share because just as was happening as I was explaining how I would have that starting and stopping sometimes, and that they're different threads of energy, so too this is happening with you. You will be receiving energy, you'll get a block of energy, you'll just go about your day. Sometimes you know it, sometimes you don't know it, but the tasks that you do in a particular day are frequently a reflection of whatever it is that is downloading within you. So that's really important for you to know. And then as you're conscious of that, as you're aware of that, it gives you the ability to then say, oh, hey, I need a little extra help here. Can you come in and, give me extra energy, give me extra downloads? When you begin to look at your life and look at energy and consider things in a different manner, such as that, what you can do is then begin to live as your soul, instead of your soul streaming a thread that comes down into you. You begin to have this wide open energy and alignment with your soul, so that you are now living as your soul. Many of these other incarnations that you have, and this is what you set up for yourself as a support for yourself, are living in vibrations and frequencies where you're not disconnected from your soul, where you don't have to go through that long stream of energy to get from your soul to the human. So begin to think of it as if it, instead of a tiny little thread of energy, you're expanding it wider and wider. And all of that soul energy is now coming through you. Every single one of you, doesn't matter if you're new to the earth or not new to the earth, you are all huge soul energies. And what that means is you've had many, many, many different lifetimes out in the universe, on this planet, in different experiences. So you have a lot that you can pull from or can support you in your everyday life. It doesn't have to be that, oh, I can't do this because I'm new to all this. No, you're not new to it. You are old. You have had this experience in one form or another. So open up your consciousness and let it come in. I know that that is not something that you are typically that you typically do. So if you open up, you don't feel like you are getting anything, and you're just sitting saying, waiting, waiting, waiting. Well, that's okay. Then get help, go into meditation, do whatever it is that you can do. Sometimes if you start writing, sometimes if you play music, sometimes if you talk, sometimes if you listen to something, there may be many different things around you that can trigger the memory or trigger the energy, so that it then downloads into you and you can express it outward. Okay, so those are my messages for tonight. Let's see if there's any questions for me. What similarities or differences are there between crystalline beings and the cloud beings that have been helping to detox and clean our environment? Hang on a second. This is Crystallia. Let's read that again. I don't think we got it. What similarities or differences are there between crystalline beings and the cloud beings? Okay, that is true. That have been helping to detox and clean our atmosphere. Not 100% sure who the cloud beings are that you talk about. The crystalline energies are something that comes from, so we're just looking at that. Are the cloud beings also a part? Anything that has consciousness comes from something with a soul. If the cloud beings are just like a robotic type thing, it may or may not have a soul energy. The crystalline energies, the crystalline frequencies are frequently associated with something that has a soul behind it, and it may be connected into the soul of every one of you that are here on earth. It may be that where it's coming from out in the universe, such as myself, we have a soul, I have a soul, and I'm sending out that crystalline vibration. But the crystalline energy is way more than just me. It is not only me that is coming in. So the key takeaway from that question is the fact that there are multitudes of different ways in which your environment is being cleaned up. There's multitudes of different ways in which the consciousness of humanity is being filtered out, so that you can get rid of that negativity, so you can get rid of those things that have been pulling you down for so long. And when they speak about those chemtrails, the chemtrails, there certainly are places where people are trying to instigate the chemtrails. However, I don't see, and I believe it's Crystallia has talked about it before, or maybe Albayon, and we don't see that they're doing the chemtrails as a means of contaminating humanity as they did in the past. So now, if you do see chemtrails, I mean, not saying that it's not happening because you guys are the one living on Earth. However, there is a lot that is diffusing the energy that is in your environment. And so whether those are the cloud beings, whether those are the crystalline energies, whether that's part of the consciousness, whether that's the collective consciousness of the planet, many of these different things interact with one another, but people may look at it and perceive it as one or another. So I guess that to come back around and answer the question, whoever these cloud beings are, that does not feel like it's crystalline specifically, but it does feel like they're working for the betterment of the whole. Have you heard about the Keys of Hanoch book? Could you say, I'm not a good one. No, give that to one of the others, please, because I don't know anything about your books. I don't know anything about your Bibles. I don't know anything about that. I never dealt with it. I never worked with it. So I'm not a good one to ask about that. I can tune into the energy of it, but I think you probably want someone that really knows these things more than I do. I will say this as a result of that. There are many things that you have been told as a truth that were misconstrued over time. And I've seen this as a pattern, not only on the Earth plane, but in other worlds, in other planets, in other universes. And people are taught certain things, and sometimes it's taught with a purity, with a clarification in it, and other times it's taught as a way of controlling and manipulating. So this is where you are in the process of it right now. You began to hear a couple of years ago that things you thought were truth were not necessarily true, and things that were interpreted one way were actually interpreted another way, or should be interpreted another way. So there is a lot of that that's going on right now. And a lot of this is that as you get into the higher frequencies and as you get into the higher consciousness, things that have been misconstrued are just going to be very evident to you. There's going, you're coming from a place where you say yourself, oh yes, I have logical thinking. Oh yes, I've always been very logical. I've been very literal. However, you're coming from a place where you thought within a box, within that matrix that they had everyone within. So once that is removed, and people's creativity and people's critical thinking and people's way of understanding things, it's like it just expands out, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as a result of that, this is where you're going to start hearing people talk about things, learning about things, understanding things in ways that they have not before. So that's why you may find that some of your books, your Bibles, your sacred books, were written in one way but interpreted in another way. And which one is right or wrong, I'm not the one to say about that. If the frequency of people on Earth has been raised, why does it seem like there are still so many selfish people on the Earth, and what will happen to them? Great question. Because you just let go of the third dimensional frequency 6 months ago. And when you think about that, and which means then that it actually was released before that even. When you're talking about things like energy, things like frequencies, things, people sometimes, like when this shift is completed, as you're very close to doing, people will think, oh my gosh, it was so sudden. It was one day this, but no, it wasn't. It's been coming for a very, very, very long time. Anytime that there has been a shift in consciousness, a shift in energy, it's been a very, very slow process that has taken time to not only integrate through the consciousness of humanity or the people of whatever the planet is, And so when you see what you're talking about, those are people that have not come to realize that they're no longer controlled by, they're still going on energies that has fed them for years and years and years. They're going on a trained behavior that taught them to be selfish or to be cruel or to be, whatever those things are. However, that energy that has fed them for all those many years is it's gone less. I can still see traces of it on the earth plane, but when those traces are gone, then they will have nothing else that will feed them. So there will be a period of time when these people are just in a habit of acting a certain way, but they feel awkward in their skin, they feel awkward in their energies, but they're in a habit of thinking of things a certain way or acting a certain way. So you'll see a hangover, or it'll still be stuck in them in that pattern until suddenly one day they'll either have a heart attack and die or something like that, or they'll make a change and move into something different. But it's not so very long ago that this selfish negativity that this individual is talking about, it was rampant on your planet, rampant, maybe as much as 30 or 40%. And we're talking just 4 or 5 years ago. So this has already been a very rapid time of shifting the energies and moving into something that is much more loving. So they're still here. This is just a hangover. And when I look towards the future, when I look 1 year down the road, there's even less than there is now. When I look at what there is now versus what there was when I first came in, there's a fraction of what it was when I first came in here. And when I look 1 year down the road, it's a fraction of what it is right now. So it is going away. It is transcending. And there will come a time where some of these people will just die, or they'll shift and move into a new reality that will include more love, more compassion in their life. All right. Any other questions for me? Okay. Excellent. So, beloved friends and family, because that is what you are to me, I thank you as always for having this platform, this opportunity to communicate with you. Be aware that anytime any of us are speaking, multiple downloads are being given to you. They are yours to receive or not. It is your free will. Understand that the focus is love. Understand that the focus is that integration within you and each one of you expressing as love. And then through that understanding, through that consciousness, through that awareness, it is not only changing your planet, it is allowing the planet to shift and connect with the rest of your universe in this new and exciting way. The world is changing. So look for the changes. Remember that you manifest what you focus upon. So focus upon the love. Focus upon being present. Focus upon nurturing yourself, be it 5 or 10 minutes a day or more. And then through that, you will look towards others and see the love in them, the nurturing in them, and it grows and grows and grows from there. Thank you as always, beloved family. Ansaluia. Greetings. It is I, Brysentia. I speak with you at this time of many things. I'm trying to figure out what to speak about first. I feel as if this is a critical time on Earth. You are coming up to the equinox in, someone can maybe look at it and say, we'll meet 2 weeks from today. Is that going to be on the equinox or pretty close to the equinox? But we have spoken many times before about the ways that the solstice and the equinox are the true calendars of your living on this planet. When you go back to the ancient times, they didn't have days, weeks, months, years, anything like that. They did have a sense of years, but they looked to the equinox, they looked to the solstice, and they created their life based on whatever energies were coming through at those particular times. You are going to get back into something similar to that in the future. You will still have your calendar. You will still have that transition. There are many that say, as all of this information comes out, you'll go back to your 13 months instead of 12 months in a year. That will keep you from having your leap year. That, all of these different changes will even out. It's as if they deliberately, those that were in charge, those that were the nefarious ones, it's as if they deliberately changed things at a core level so as to create a rift in humanity and a rift in the consciousness. And that was their intention. So the earth and the planet and humanity will go back to that natural vibration and frequency that will include more a more balanced energy, meaning a certain number of days between the solstice and equinox, or really truly it's like equinox to equinox if you look at it as a teeter-totter, and solstice to solstice, and it just happens that they intersect with one another. But in the past, we're talking hundreds of years ago, if not thousands of years ago, they looked to the way in which the sun and the moon interacted with the earth to understand what was happening. And many of the peoples back in those times knew that there were others out within the universe, and they knew that they were coming in and out, and many of them communicated. I'm talking even as much as 200 years ago, people did have this knowledge. But when you go back to the more ancient times, such as thousands of years ago, when things in many, many cases were much simpler, when people had the ability to just know that I have my plot of land, I'm working my plot of land, I'm interacting with the others around me, and they knew that the consciousness and the soul essence and everything that they were doing was a reflection of that. So that's an interesting thing for you to consider, that because you're coming out of a space where there was so much limitation placed upon you, where there were so many times in which you didn't have the ability to connect with your star brothers and sisters, or your star aspect of yourself, that this all seems new and different and exciting and glorious to you. But it was not so very long ago, because time-space reality is not as you think of it. It is not linear. But there was not so long ago that you didn't know that, we have people coming in from the universe. We have influxes of energy coming in from the universe. We're working with them. They're working with us, almost as if it was a trade type of things. The negative energy that has infected your planet for so long is also a part of the negative energy that infected this universe for so long. So when we look at the other planets, and when we look at the consciousness that is shifting, there is literally a shift in the consciousness of the universe that is still being acclimated to in other parts of your universe. I am from the Pleiades. The Pleiades is a huge aspect of this part of the universe, and we have multiple different planets that are considered part of the Pleiades, just as you have your galaxy that you're working with these other planets that are within that galaxy. It is like we have a little mini galaxy or a sub-galaxy, and it's all the Pleiades. So we too have gone through a huge transition, and we too are accumulating new knowledge and new information and new ways of communicating. And as that is taking place, not only is it helping all of us, but it is shifting the way in which we communicate with others. We have been accustomed for a very, very long time, multiple eons probably, in which there was nothing but warfare. I shouldn't say it like that, in which there was warfare that was involved in communication with other planets and things. So instead of having a type of situation where we would go to another planet, and then it was, there were many, many people that it was understood, oh, here's someone new. How can we learn from one another? How can we grow? But there were also probably more, that were there to say, I'm here, I'm taking control, I'm getting rid of you, I'm bringing in my people. And so it was a domination or a totalitarian type of consciousness and choice that was put forth to people. So too, there were fightings and things that were going on between stars and planets out within the universe. I mean, it has been exhausting, exhausting. But that's all coming to an end. The Star Wars are over. The Star Wars that, as you knew it, as was portrayed in those shows that you watched a while ago, it even showed you in the end of that they had ascended. They acted as if it was that one person, but what that one person represented was the ascension of those planets and those beings to be able to have a higher vibrational communication with one another. So this is happening out in the universe just as it's happening here on the earth plane. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your everyday life? It means that not only will you get the support from the earth in these changes, but you're going to get the support from these other planets as they are coming in okay. I keep hearing people say support, support, support. What about, what does that even mean? So think about what is supportive of you. To have people that understand you, to have people that come in, and if you're tired, if you can't get everything done, then they're there to do it for you, or to let you rest, and they help you out, or help you to be able to get done what you need to do, working hand in hand with you. So this is another way of considering how things are going to be coming in from the universe. Something just popped in many of the places around your planet right now. Those that have been the nefarious ones are talking about taking down what was your ancient history, talking about petroglyphs, and talking about, in Turkey, we're seeing this in various, let's see, Australia, up in Asia, in a couple of places. There have been different things that people are saying they're trying to take down the ancient history. Some of those, what is being taken down are the foundations for the nefarious ones. Others of these things have very light energy, and they're a part of what created the foundation and that ancient energy that allowed for you to come. We're talking tablets, we're talking things in caves, we're talking. So what is important for you to understand is that you cannot eradicate those things that are truly of the light. It may seem as if tablets are broken, information is lost, but they will reform. It may seem as if they're coming in with bulldozers or dynamite or something like that, but in some of these places, it will backfire and it will not destroy what it is trying to destroy. So the important takeaway of this is that as you have those, in that last question that someone was asking about was, I don't even remember how Crystallia was talking about it. Oh, but maybe it was, how could there still be people that are so horrible on the earth plane? Well, this is the way they're in their last energy, their last strikes that they're bringing down against people, and they're doing this as a last ditch effort. This is a mentality that says, well, if I'm not going to win, no one's going to win. Not understanding that when everyone wins, everyone wins, even those that are of the lower vibration. And so that frequency is the frequency on the earth plane. So some of them will never get it, and they'll just die, and they'll go off and not even be upon the earth anymore. But some of them will understand it, and they will transition and move into this new reality. So there have been, talking about like some of these last strikes, there was, Shelly's from the United States. So this is something that she was conscious of, and she wanted me to talk about it. You will remember we've talked at times in the past about the mutilation of cattle, about ETs that are coming into different places. And recently in Texas, there was like a laser beam of light, one of the weapons it was called, that came in and destroyed some cattle that was there. So so there was a lot of people that were up in arms about it, and a lot of people that are saying, oh, they're doing this so that we won't have enough food, so that there's going to be a problem. So the thing to understand is that there will be enough food. It is already, it cannot be that food is one of your basic needs. And therefore, it was used as a form of manipulation by those that we call the nefarious ones. And so they create fear in people saying there's not enough food. And so what took place in Texas was a way of taking out what people considered their food supply. They're like, oh my gosh, it's taking out the cattle. You know, what are we going to eat? So that strike in particular, I'm sensing, I mean, I was not a part of it or anything, but I'm looking at it through this energy. And what I'm seeing is that this has happened in multiple different places around the planet, not just in Texas. It's happened on all of the continents, and in some places where people know about it, in some places where people don't know about it. But what took place about this one in particular was that it was done in such a way to raise awareness to the humanity that was around them. It did take out some, there was some injury to the cattle, there was some injury to the people, but it was also, it was something that was put in place years ago by the nefarious ones, and they didn't know exactly where it would be, when it would be, etc. And so there were still those, I literally see like maybe 24 people, and I'm sure it's more than that, but it's that comparison to the billions of people upon the earth, as if a handful of people are left. So it was something that was set up, and then someone was able to get to it, to program it, to send it to that direction at that time. There are not very many more of these. It was found out about because these individuals can't hide themselves anymore. And so it was found out about, and it was modified to a degree as much as it could be expected by some other ETs that came in, and they counteracted it. So it was intended to be way worse than what it was. Not saying it wasn't bad, not saying it didn't hurt people. Unfortunately, it did, and unfortunately, that did take place. But it was done as a way of getting people's attention, and it was also modified to a degree that it would not be as awful or as devastating as it could have been. It is so hard to talk about things like this, because you think, well, how did they get away with it? How the belief and the intention for people is that everyone's going to know about what's going on, everyone is going to understand, and everyone is going to move forward from that. But you still have the billions of different personalities on the earth plane. When you connect to people at that soul level, you're connecting at the level of love. You're connecting at the level of cooperation with one another. But then you bring it down into your everyday life. And for some of these, the sense is that that soul has been disconnected. For some of these, that's their own perception, we're saying. For some of these, you know, they talk about, is it a clone? Is it a body double? Is it, you know, for all these different aspects of people and what you're seeing played out in front of you, there's so much of it that is just done with a specific intention of trying to awaken people. Sometimes it's through atrocities, because that's what gets people's attention, and sometimes it's through compassion. But it has needed to happen in the way that it was, because you needed to break down the old paradigm. You needed to break down the old truth and reality. And now that so much of that has happened, that's why you're seeing many, many more ways in which things are coming in from that love, that light, and that compassion. So something else that kind of went along with that, what was it that we wanted to talk about? I didn't know if Albayon was going to talk about this, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. So since we're talking about the United States and so much is going to happen there, it is by no means the only place in the planet. Your whole entire planet has gone through this transition. But recently they had the individual that they call the president giving a speech, and that was all fake. That was all done by, what do you call people, actors, and it was done as a means of causing people, everyday people that have never thought about what you call conspiracy theory, that have never thought about what else is going on in my world. They're just living their lives, going day by day, taking everything at face value, and they have never questioned things. So it was done in such a way that it jarred people, because even those people that have never been thinking about things, that have never thought about, is the government maybe not in my best interest? They're starting to say, what the heck is going on? And this is what's been going on since 2020 with a very clear intention. It was started in 2016. No coincidence that that's when we started coming in. That was what really opened the door for everything that is going on at this time. So I see that is at the end. It's very, very much at the end of its cycle. I see that it is no longer going to be doing the job that it needed to do, which was to try to awaken people. I see that in the disclosure of everything that's going out is that people will actually begin. It sounds kind of strange to say it, but when people realize what's been going on in the background, there's a certain number of you that have always known that may be saying, well, why did you let it get this bad? Why did you let us get to this place? Why? Well, it needed to, so as to jar these many, 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 many people that have been asleep, that didn't want to think about things, that didn't want to consider what may be going on, or that their life around them is not what they thought it was. And so now that is happening, when everything comes out, it's actually going to be a big relief, not only to those of you that have been waiting for it, but to those people that, when they can understand that, there's going to be a lot of people that are mad, but there's also going to be, overriding that will be a sense of, oh, thank goodness it's already been done. Oh, thank goodness they're already taking care of things. Oh, thank goodness we're not, when they get that sense of, this is what it's been, this is where we are, this is how we've been doing the healing work, and we've been doing the transition, it's actually going to come as a big relief for many people. So I wanted to say that to you, because those of you that are in here, you know the truth, and you know what you know. So be calm, be present within yourself, and understand that the bigger scheme of things, or the bigger picture of all of this, is that whether it's a do weapon over here, whether it's a speech over here, whether it's something that shows up on your TV in a newscast, no matter what it may be coming from, the end result is that it's all going to be explained, and it's all going to be given to you. The disclosures have already been thousands upon thousands, but it's going to be across the world, and it's going to be in such a way that this is where you've been, this is why we came in, this is what we've done, and here's where you are. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you, so that when you see these things that are happening, of course, feel love and compassion and awareness for those that are directly involved. Of course, send love, light, energetic support, or if you need to, go physically and help them out. Do whatever it is that you are called to do within yourself. But keep in mind that everything is continuously moving towards that which is the ascension of the earth, and that which is the integration of this light energy, and that which is, as we're living in the light, this is how it looks. All right, so I am open to receive questions if there are any. Some of us are dealing with evictions while trying to stay in a high vibration. We need help. Is there any information regarding the financial system? So every time we look at the financial system, it looks like it's converted. So you're not really asking about the financial system. What we're asking about is, when are they going to stop the IRS and explain to everybody that the IRS is not for the federals. It's given some money to them, but it was set up with nefarious intent. So that's going to be one of the first ways. I remember, I think it was probably 18 months ago or so, Albayon says, okay, it's coming down. The IRS is coming down. Lo and behold, it has not. So what's going to happen first and foremost is that's going to be an immediate change, because people have paid their taxes. You've been paying taxes your whole life, and that's an immediate amount of money that goes directly back to everyone. Then you get into what people call the Nasara Jasara. You know, I've seen so many different versions of this. I don't know which is the version that humanity is going to use, but then there will be a certain amount of money that will come back to people through Nasara Jasara. So I see money as coming into people in multiple different ways. As to what to do in this situation, I wish it feels to me as if there are going to be multiple. Sorry about that. I'm downloading into Shelly. It feels to me as if there are organizations that are available that do already have money available that you can get to help bring you up to date so that you don't get evicted. I'm positive you've already looked at things like that. But if you can find a way, and I'm going to shine light on you, and everyone that's listening to this is going to shine light on you and everybody else that's in a similar situation, that you can find a way that you may be able to get a relief of some sort, and shifting your energy into finding something, anything, any small amount of love or light or frequency into this situation, be it love for your partner, be it love for your children, be it love for, you know, whatever it may be, that will shift your own frequency into the love frequency. And that will open you up to receive the abundance and the vibration and the frequency that will then help you. But it feels as if there's something in the community that can give you that day by day. But if you begin with the energy work, that energy work is about opening to the love frequency. The next phase of it is then seeing what was around you all the time, but you didn't see it because you were in fear and anxiety. And I can hear you saying, yeah, you go get evicted and see if you're not in fear. I understand. And so perhaps this is just a process that you're going to have to go through and experience for whatever the reason is that I don't have access to. But ultimately, what everyone needs to do on this planet is experience whatever comes along in your life through the heart of love, through the light of love, through the light of your heart, through the light of compassion. And I just know that when you're able to do so, you see things around you that you don't see when you're in that different frequency. So I think it's here. I mean, we've said that gazillion times. All these different people that you listen to have all said it many, many different times. It all feels like it's before whatever that deadline that you have in April. It all feels like it's before then. It all feels like it's imminent. And so just trying to read the energies, just trying to see what comes through to me. But that's as much as I can get right now, because every time that we look and we see a particular date and we ask for a date, well, that date was true, but that's not the timeline that people chose to go with. So everything gets shifted around and everything gets moved. So I cannot tell you that, but I do know that you have that deadline coming up April 15th or something. And it feels like everything is over and done with by then. And your taxes or whatever for this year are over and done with. It just, yeah, it feels way more so than it has ever felt before. And so finding that love, finding that support, looking at what's in your community to help you get you through this time. But it honestly feels to me as if everything's already been set up and all someone needs to do is push the button and that money goes into the accounts and it just happens worldwide. The money has already been distributed to every country. The money is already there backing up this new financial system. That's why you're in the new financial system. That's why you have that stability already. And for those that, because that just opened that doorway, there are still people that say the only way you're going to survive this is if you have gold and silver or the precious metals. Sure, if you want to have that, that certainly doesn't hurt anything, but that's not the vast majority of the entire population of the world. The entire population of the world has been using banks and have been using other financial institutions, and so those are the ones that have transitioned. It was and when people say, "Oh, but all banks are bad, they're backed by the nefarious ones," no, they're gone. They're all gone, and they've all already been transitioned. They've already been moved into something that is much more, what's the word I want to use? That is much more in the vibration and frequency of this quantum financials. Okay. I know I got off track a little bit, but hopefully that that helps you. When we ascend, will we use all of the things in our house that we use in our daily lives now? Also, will we be doing the same type of things that we do in our daily lives, or will it be different? That's a great question, because in many, many ways, you're just going to live in the same house, use all the same things, just continue your life doing exactly what you're doing now, but you're doing so with a greater air of consciousness and frequency. So as that becomes very much a part of your daily life, as they get past all this control and manipulation, you're going to begin to get the energy of the earth from the vibration of the earth. So you won't necessarily have the electricity that you plug into in the wall. The energy will be generated from different sources, and so that will create a change in what's in your house. When you look around at some of the things that you do, maybe what you read, maybe what the knickknacks, the different things, your houses may change in the future. It's still quite a ways down the road, but your cars will not ride on the road. It will hover above the earth, so as not to do that. But that's probably a good 30 years out, or more. And, of course, anything like that can change, but that's not anything within the next 1 to 2 years. So there are things in your daily life that are going to change as you bring in more of this energy and as more of this consciousness lifts. But for the beginning, because many of you have already been living in your ascended energy, and you've been still living your daily life, in the way that you're living it. So for the vast majority of you, things will remain the same as it is now, with you simply having access to more potentials because you're now vibrating at a higher frequency and you're looking at the world through the eyes of a higher frequency. Are there med beds designed for animals like cats and dogs? Yes, there are. And cats and dogs can heal way more easily than humanity can, because they don't have the same ego that humanity has. Your ego sometimes can interfere with your own healing. You all have the ability to heal yourself no matter what it is that's going on with you, but then it's your ego or your analytical mind that will get in there and say, no, you can't do that, no, that doesn't work like that, no, I don't think so, no. And it questions you, and it pulls you down, and it takes you out of that state. So every one of you have the ability to find that state of perfect balance, perfect health, where everything within your physical body is working exactly as it needs to. And then it gets pulled out of that space. I remember we talked about the med beds the last time. So as far as the med beds that go for humanity, they are coming, and they are going to be physical med beds, and they have been created. They're just not in the surface, and they're not in your everyday reality. And as to when that's going to happen, it's hard to give it a specific date, because you have to have a vibration and a frequency that can support it and can support the healing. I believe that part of what Albayon and I have been trying to help everyone with is that understanding that whether it's through a med bed or your doctor that you go to or your own personal or a herbalist, no matter who it is that you work with to find perfect health or to find the healing that you need, ultimately, each one of you is doing your own healing. You're doing it through that, finding that balance within yourself, through that self-talk that's where someone over here may be saying, you have cancer, you have heart disease, you have high blood pressure, and inside of yourself you're saying, do I have cancer, do I have this? And if your reality is that you do not, you literally change the cells inside your body, and that way things that are outside of you that are telling you something, it's not your truth, it's not your reality. So therefore you find that balance, you find that healing. You can work with your cellular structure, you can find things that are around you that also support your cellular structure. So this is but one of the many, many ways that healing will take place. And then when you do get to that space where you might go to the med beds and you might have that to bring you back into that space of balance, to bring you back into that space of healing, to bring you back into that space where you're activating those levels of your DNA, then you have the consciousness, the truth, the reality that will maintain that and allow you to live that within your life. In the past, you've been in a consciousness the past 100 years. So literally think about that for a minute. You've been in a consciousness for about 100 years that tells you you're not well, that you're sick, that you have a problem, that you are not right, you are not okay, and oh, take this drug, take this surgery, take this, all of these different things that have been a part of your everyday reality. But if you look back beyond that, everybody had that knowledge and that intrinsic awareness of being able to heal themselves, of being able to be in that perfect balance. They knew what foods they needed to eat. They knew these things. So this breaking that cycle that you've been in for this last 80 to 100 years is a part of the ascension. And when you get there, you are all going to feel so much better. You're going to feel so much better because you are no longer letting something outside of you dictate to you how you feel, how you look, what you're doing. You will know it from within yourself, and therefore you will intrinsically be at peace and intrinsically be in balance. Okay. Is it possible to fix the Earth's tilt so there's always beautiful weather on all the continents? That's never been the intention of this planet. This planet has always been about cycles and about experiencing things in different ways. So there's no one has any interest in adjusting it or adjusting, it is the way it is, and it is tilted because it was hit by an asteroid many millions of years ago. But there's no interest from anyone that would want to change it from what it is. Can a being that has walked among us, oh wait, okay. Can a being that has walked among us please explain why people will argue over the round and flat Earth dilemma? I don't know why. I don't know why people argue about that. I don't know why. In one hand, I think those that are perceiving it as flat are picking up on a dimension, are picking up on a portion of what the Earth is, and then they think that's it, that's all there is. And so and then when you get into the consciousness that of what the Earth needs to be so as to be in balance with other planets, so that the energy that's going in and around all the planets, if you have something flat, it's just, it's not going to work. It has to be round or spherical or have something that is in the flow of the energy of the universe. So this is a belief system, I guess you could say. And those that are, I have never been able to understand why people are getting into that, if not for the fact that perhaps what it represents is you all have been told for your whole entire life that the sky is blue. You know what blue is because you've been told this is the sky. You've been told that this is blue. You see blue represented in many other places right here. And that's your truth, that's your reality. The sky is blue. And so the more that you get into the different frequencies, especially as you get into the higher frequencies, the type of blue, the type of colors that you're going to see in your sky is going to change, because now you're going to open up to a different spectrum of colors and a different spectrum of energies. So in time, what your perception is of blue, or all of the colors that are in your rainbow, is going to change, because there are going to be many, many more that are going to be available to you. So if someone were to say to you that it's white, or, it's a different color than what you believe it to be, are they looking at it from a higher perspective? This is where I'm being devil's advocate here, saying this is perhaps a perspective that someone is looking at the earth, and in their mind or in their consciousness, they're looking at it from a higher perspective, and there's nothing else but this. However, that being said, this also feels like it's someone that is trying to convince people that the sky is blue. No, it's black. No, that color is black. Nope, the sky is blue. We've been taught all our lives that's blue. No, that is black. And so it's almost like a mind control, or a mindset that is telling you that no, the earth isn't round. No, the earth isn't spherical. The earth is flat. And are you just going to buy into it and believe it? Or are you going to use your logical thinking and say, maybe it's not flat, maybe it's not round, maybe it's something else? Or are you going to say, no, my perception and the way I see it interacting with other planets, or whatever it is that is your belief system? But my point in this kind of a long talk about this, in talking about what is your perception, is that the biggest piece of this feels to me as if it's, because I'm saying, why are people doing this? It's a good question. Why are people saying that it's flat? It feels to me as if it's coming across as another way of telling you what you've always known to be your truth. They're saying that's not your truth. This is your truth. It's like it's trying to use mind control on you, and trying to make you believe something that intrinsically is not true. So what always comes back to that? It's like, oh boy, that's the correct answer right there. Because as soon as I said that, this huge amount of energy started streaming through, where children, are you a boy or a girl? I'm a boy. No, you're not. You're a girl. No, I'm a boy. No, you're a girl. And you're told it over and over and over and over again. So you begin to believe, well, what is a boy? What is a girl? Maybe I'm a girl. So people believe things that they are told over and over again, in the Matrix especially. And you're coming out of that, but you still have all these people that don't know that you're out of that. So it's almost like and that's what's been going on with this whole disclosure thing. You're being told that Biden is president. No, he's not the president. They lied, they cheated, they stole it. He's not the president. There's someone puppeting him. And so all of these different truths are also going to come out because of the higher, lighter frequency. But I believe that it took me a while. I was just kind of processing through it in the way that you guys would also process through it. And I want you to know that your truth, especially when you're in alignment with your light energy, with your light frequency, your truth is what you just know it, and no one can tell you any differently. And that's what we're helping you to get to through all of these various channels, through all of this various information. Because anybody could come behind a channel and say, she's lying, she's not really connected, she's not, but yet you guys listen to us and you feel it inside of you. You know the truth, you know the energy. Plus, with your own education and the other things that you've done, you know that this is supporting you and helping you and giving you information that helps you to understand and know your truth. So ultimately, that is what humanity is going towards, which is that critical thinking, which is that understanding their truth, which is knowing what comes through your soul and what is in alignment with your soul, and then living out. No matter, you could have 10 people, one after the other, telling you something, and it's like, nope, 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 nope. And then you don't even get engaged in it. So I believe that that's the big picture of why this has come up in this way. And it's really that two-pronged, them trying to control and manipulate you and tell you something that, and trying to make you believe something, versus you being in connection with your soul, just as Crystallia spoke so beautifully about that. Have that openness, have that awareness, and then you'll know it within you, and you'll know what is your truth. Whew, that was an interesting one. That was kind of a convoluted way, was it not? For people with severe OCD and phobias, what do you see as the most beneficial healing solutions that can help them help rewire the brain? Are electromagnetic frequency therapies and cyclobin, not sure about that, found in psychedelic mushrooms, are things to look into. Are they new modalities? Some of these things are actually, like working with mushrooms and working with other plant things, are actually very ancient ways of dealing with things that are going on in the body. Throughout time, there have been people that had trouble with the wiring of their brain, with diseases of the blood, with diseases of the, and you got to look at it as, sometimes that's just that soul's growth. They wanted particular experiences so that their soul could grow and learn through those experiences. So whatever it is that their experience is, that's their soul growth that they chose to have for this lifetime, or a lifetime. But there's a lot of that right now. And the reason that you see so much of it right now is because you had this whole group of people that came in anticipating that we are where we are now 25 years ago. And it didn't happen. So they came in with more of an open consciousness, more of a light energy, and ready to be in the higher frequency. And then they got pulled way, way, way down to the lower vibrational frequencies, because they had no choice, because that was what was the collective consciousness of the earth plane. So that triggered responses in them that have been termed OCD, that have been termed autism, that have been termed these many different things that you guys see right now, and you see so much more than is typical. Some of these are actually the individuals that were very highly advanced, that were coming in to anchor the higher frequency, and they just got there too soon. So you are where you are right now. These therapies that you talked about, when you look at alternative therapies, when you look at these different things that are available to people, some of them are fabulous. And the ones that I read about right here, they all had a resonance with me. So ultimately, there are going to be many different modalities that people are going to use, and they may be considered alternative modalities. They may be considered different ways of looking at a situation. And that comes back to what? Abstract thinking. What did they allow you when you were part of the matrix? No abstract thinking. So it is the abstract thinking that thinks outside the box, that thinks in a way that is different than the norm. And that's what helped to break down the matrix, in addition to, it's not quite as simple as that. But then now you have all these individuals that said, well, okay, let's work with the frequencies. Let's work with the wiring. Let's work with the energy that we have and see what we can do to help. And some of these modalities will help a great deal. Sometimes they may not seem to help very much. And so it's about keeping your opportunities open, looking at the different things. And then you go back to that individual. Do they want that? Do they not want it? I mean, even as a child, or, if these are children, if these are adults, you may have someone that's around them that's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard for you. You were struggling so hard. It doesn't have to be that way. Here, let's try this modality. Well, if that person's like, I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to change. And that may, of course, be very unconscious inside of them. But if they're not in a place where they're willing to receive a treatment or make a change in their life, then you can give them every treatment that you come up with, and it's not going to make an impact, because that individual, from their soul level or from their ego everyday level, is choosing not to go into that healing modality. And this is similar to what we've spoken about with the med beds. So there's many different layers when it comes to healing. There's many different potentials that are available for people. And just as you have problems, there are going to be 5, 10, 20 people that are trying to find a solution to those problems. And many, many people will try those solutions. They work great. They're in a better place. They're totally happy. But if someone goes into those problems and they have that treatment, but they're still having other problems, they still don't change, well, then that individual is where that individual wants to be. And for whatever reason, maybe something you have no idea, maybe something they have no idea. So then if this is an adult or even a child, then you begin to have the conversation of, well, how is this serving you? Oh, it's not serving me at all. I hate it because yada, 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 yada. Well, then how is that serving you? So that you really break down, there's something that this is serving them, or their perception is that it is serving them. And that's what you need to get to. And that's underneath the many, many, many layers. And then when you get to that realization and you can heal whatever that may be, maybe they just want attention. They're not getting attention. They don't have the support. They don't have the things they need. Well, okay, I can get attention if I act out, or I can get attention. Who knows? I'm just saying that there's frequently layers. And so the question to always ask is, how is that serving? How is that serving? How is that serving? And when you get down and you break it all down, you heal the core issue, and then the symptoms will most often go away. And these modalities can be ways that it can still cause it to go away because it wasn't a big healing thing that you needed to have. Or it can open up the doorway and you still go through those layer upon layer upon layers until it all resolves. Whew, I've been talking a long time. Is that all for me? Can you please tell us if the eclipse next month will last for 3 to 5 days? Let's let Albayon talk about that, because he was going to talk about some other things coming in from the universe that have to go with eclipses. Was that it? Okay. Is the Earth splitting into two, a higher and a lower frequency? No, that's been done in the past. There was the lower frequency is the Earth that you've been living on. But as people ascended off the Earth plane, we're talking about eons ago, and we're talking about sometimes a million years ago, there was like multiple different Earths created that were created at the different vibration and frequency. The whole intention of this ascension is the return of all Earths into this one planet, and it's the planet that you are on. So it's not going to split. It's been split in the past. This is about the reunification of the multiple different planets called Earth. You all only heard of your own one planet called Earth, but other civilizations that could see different frequencies said, oh, well, here's Earth over here, here's Earth over here. And those were the higher, lighter frequencies of the Earth. And so everything is now coming back together and everything is being reunified. Again, no wonder things are taking so long. So that lower vibrational frequency is something that will then leave this universe. We're talking about the lowest of the low will leave this universe, as so much of it has already done so. And those that are just choose not to go through the ascension, they'll just go back to their soul, a lot of them. But there will no longer be multiple different Earths. There will only be one Earth, and it will be integrated into the whole. Okay, is that it? Well, thank you, everyone. I love these discussions with you. I appreciate you showing up to be a part of this, whether you're listening live or later on, you're still here. And so be calm within yourself. Be present in the moment. Know that you are going to see in your physical reality all of these different things that have been discussed. So it's already happened. It's just about the Earth plane catching up to what has already happened. Beloved, know that I am ever with you. Ansaluia. Greetings. Whew. It is I, Albayon. I am the anchor tonight, am I not? we truly don't have a conversation about, I'm going first, I'm going second. We do occasionally, but we try to shuffle it around so that different of us come in at different times, because not only is Shelly getting tired, but all of you are getting tired, because these conversations are long, are they not? I want to talk about the eclipse. This is why we I asked, when Brysentia started to talk about that, she says, no, let's just let Albayon. I've spoken to you for so many times about the transition of the earth. I've spoken to you about the energy that's coming in from the universe. I've spoken to you about the ships that are in the universe that are surrounding your planet, that are supporting and anchoring a lot of what is coming in. And also the fact that not only are certain things coming in from the sun, from the solar energy, what you call solar flares, but some things are coming in from changes and vibrations that are happening out to other planets. And then it's like waves of energy that go throughout the universe, and it has an impact on the earth. The eclipses in particular are very, very important for the earth. You know they're coming, you can anticipate they're coming, and therefore it's as if you can prepare for them. Some of these eclipses are in different parts of your world, and therefore it's having a bigger impact on the people in that part of the world. As we're speaking about this, though, this one that's coming up on April the 8th is one of the big pivotal bolts of energy that is coming through the earth plane, that is about the breaking up of the last of the third dimensional energy. I know that someone else had talked earlier asking about 3D and stuff like that, and indeed that dimension has been mostly deactivated upon the earth plane, but the residual energy that people keep feeding into it. And in the past, it's like people would have these negative experiences, it would feed into an energy, and the third dimension was pretty big or thick, you could say. But now it's down to a tiny sliver, but they keep feeding into it because these people don't know any different. And so some of it is just bouncing off, some of it is being absorbed, some of it is being transitioned into higher frequencies, but the people that are living those experiences don't really know any of that may be going on. And so this is why you still see some of these negative things that are going on, and this is why it has not completely gone away. So what's going to happen with this eclipse? There are a series of different eclipses. Some of them are partial eclipse, some of them these are solar eclipse. Now there'll be lunar eclipse later on in the year. You have eclipses all the time. So some of you are saying, so what's different about this one? What's different is the alignment of the planets that come up behind it, put more impact, more power, more energy coming into it. And it's one of the ways to think about this is like a ball of energy or a wave of energy that comes into the earth. And it's almost like when you talk about a sonic boom and you got that boom, and it hits or it releases and it reverberates outward. And sometimes it's several seconds later people hear it, or people know that it has happened. It is something like that is coming in. So there'll be some of you that are already in the higher, lighter frequencies. You may feel nothing that day. There are other people that are looking for it. They're anticipating it. Okay, I'm ready to receive. You may feel nothing that day because you're already there, because you know about it, because you've prepared for it. So what this is mostly going to have an impact upon are those people that are as yet aware of everything that's been going on this planet, the sleepers, as you call them. And what it's going to do is it's going to be like this sonic boom that goes through the planet, and it will awaken. It's going to shake everybody up, and it's going to awaken them. And some people will just say, wow, boy, I didn't sleep last night. Whoa, what's going on? Because they're not attuned to doing astrology. They haven't heard about it. And so they won't know. But what it's going to do is, in all of these people, it's going to shake them up in such a way that they will begin to question. And that's what we want. We want people to question. Why do I feel different today than I did yesterday? Why did I have a sense that I had this weird dream and something happened? Why? And that why? That is what is going to allow all of these other people that have been asleep to shift into the consciousness. not only, another thing that's going to come along in alignment with that will be that this is going to break up those last of the old paradigms. Paradigms become frequencies, they become anchored in the earth. Sometimes they're anchored through what do you call those things, statues, or through there are different things. Some of them are man-made, some of them are not, but they anchor an energy, or they represent an energy. And so what's going to happen is, with this, I'm just calling it a sonic boom because you all know what that is. So when this sonic boom comes in, it's going to hit the earth, jar the earth, and spread outward, breaking down the last of those old belief systems. The matrix is gone, but there's a residual of it there because people are still living in a way that kept feeding into it. So it's going to break up whatever that residual was that had to do with the matrix. It's going to break up whatever was the old way that people had of aligning, not only within themselves, but communicating with others. And so much of that negativity that you've heard about, you're going to see it even worse after this, because people go into fear. And when people go into fear, they get negative. And so you may see more of that. However, trust that this is breaking it up. This is tearing it down. And then what is already here will cut. It's like it will begin to raise up and replace that old heavy, dense energy with the higher frequencies that you guys are already accustomed to, that you've already been anchoring. And so that may be the time when all this disclosure comes out. My sense is they're going to say it ahead of time so that they can prepare people for that day. Consider back to 1 year ago in March with the equinox. You will remember how I talked about there being a massive change, or a massive flare of light that came in with the equinox, and it created a big change. Many of you, that's what started your awakening. Many of you, it pushed you further along. So now this is another one of those, but it's amplified even more because, yes, there were planets that were lined up behind it last year, but universally, literally throughout your universe, universally, this is considered the time of the last of the breakdown of the low vibrational energies of the earth. You've been chipping away at it. You've been breaking it down. You've been creating changes. You've been creating new alternatives. And so this is going to come in and break up the last of that. And there's also going to be an element of it as it's moving through, like as it's coming in, as it's leading up to it, it's break. And as it's coming out of it, a lot of it is going to just pull out that energy and take it with it and take it off your planet so that it is no longer even there upon your planet. You may find it in different places where, again, people are accustomed to acting a certain way, but now there truly will be no energy for them to draw on, and therefore they will either transition off. So that's always been a big question for people. When this final shift takes place, are people going to just disappear? And will people say, didn't I have a brother? Where'd my brother go? And it's been finessed in such a way that if you have someone, there are a lot of people out there that do not have anyone around them, and they're stuck in that very low vibration. So some of those may just transition, and people just don't even know about it. There's a lot that you're talking about with the injection, say, and so they may say, oh yeah, they must have had the injection. Oh, they must have had this. So there are parts of those injections, that one and several others, that is a way to transition humanity off the earth plane. But there will be those that will just simply transition off the earth plane. But the perception that people have is that they had a heart attack, they had a stroke, they had this, that, or the other, and they died. Okay. Oh, but I do want to come back. Sorry to laugh. It's just, I just picked up on so many of you envisioning like a third of the population just disappearing off the earth plane. No, it's very, it's not that big of a portion at all. So this here is a reminder that there are so many people that are way more awake, that are way more aware. They just don't know that they are. It's been building up in their unconsciousness. And this is the biggest miracle of all of this. These are the friends and family that you've known for so long that are going to look at these disclosures and things that come out and say, oh, that's what's been going on. Oh, that's why I'm not okay. And that's why people are going to be calmer about it, is because this has already gone through and broken up and taken out a lot of that fear that's been inside of people. So to say it's a big change is an understatement. This is going to be a massive change. And for those that look at the earth plane, like as we look at it now, even as it's coming in, it's like this massive, massive ball of light that's coming into the earth, and it's going to become a part of the earth. It's not going to pass through it. An eclipse does pass through, yes, but what this is depositing is stuff that's going to stay here on the earth plane permanently, and so it will always be there. It will always have its impact, and you will see it and you will know it. But this time is a very pivotal time. The equinox is going to be a big time for setting up these energies and getting it prepared for people. So don't be surprised if you hear things like constantly, oh, there's something else. Oh, there's something else. Oh, there's something else. Because everything is preparing for this time and this final transition. There was someone that had asked a question about a book, is this book real or was it fake? Brysentia kind of talked about that, or was it Crystallia? There is a lot that is going to come out after this final transition that will be as if, and one of the things that we're working on, we cannot get away from it. Many people are going to feel betrayed. Many people are going to feel stunned. Many people are going to feel hurt that things that they always believed to be their truth are not. And the key here, and what you can share with others, is the key is, well, what was underlying all of that? A way to help you feel nurtured and supported and loved in this life. So remember that aspect of it. And as you realize that maybe these steps, maybe these aspects of it were not for the betterment of humanity, but always go back to the core, go back to underneath it, go back to what it was, because so many of these, we're talking about the Bible, we're talking about the, every major religion has its book that talks about, what it is for that religion. And every one of them came and originated from a place of love. So understand that that many of these things were part of the control and manipulation, and that's the part that is being taken out. And the shift that is also a part of this is that recognition, or that realization that you have that direct line within you. You have your own soul energy. But people are accustomed to relying on other people, to relying on books, to rely on the minister, the priest, whomever it may be. And so it is going to take time for that to transition. That will not happen overnight. However, that has to start somewhere, and this is that beginning. And so after that, you'll hear more and more and more people talking about, well, I'm trusting myself, I'm trusting my intuition, I'm trusting my inner knowledge, I'm trusting my inner awareness, and that knowing that comes from their soul, and that their soul is basically God, is where God is. And God is, the creator of all is actually more than even just your soul, but it's your piece of that comes down through your soul. Okay, so it's getting late and people are getting antsy, so let's just jump into the questions. When will Trudeau, Freeland, and the Cabal liberals be gone in Canada? We can't take much more. They will be gone within days or weeks, just as Biden will be gone within days or weeks, just as all of these major people around the world in these governments, Israel, Palestine, France, Germany, Canada, United States, they are all coming down at almost the same time. Remember, they've already been gone, remember that everything that is being acted out to you now is to get people anxious, to get people aware, to get people mad, so that when they understand what's actually, so that they're showing you in your face everything that they've been doing underneath things, that people can understand it. So they're all going to come down. It's and what's going to replace it is already there. It's already set up. It's ready to step in. So it will be a smooth transition no matter where you are in the world. Yes, there will be some that will go into fear and anxiety. Yes, there will be some that will try to create problems, but it's been set up to be as smooth as possible. But it cannot go on any longer. And after this eclipse, with that burst of energy coming in, you cannot hide any stuff like that anymore. I'm curious about mantis beings and praying mantis insect on Earth. What is the connection between the two? Are they benevolent or malevolent mantis beings in the universe? And why do the praying mantis and females eat the males? So mantis is on many different planets in the universe. Some of them are benevolent, some of them are not. Just as you look at humanity, some of them are benevolent, some of them are not. So the mantis there was a large segment of them that grew as a part of the negativity that was both in the universe and on your planet. And so they became very frightening to people. They became very, very large, like about 10 to 15 feet. And a lot of the insectoids are portrayed as something that is, what's the word we want to use? Fearful, or something to be afraid of. And that is just playing on people's fears. So as far as the mantis in particular, that which they're speaking about here is, that was the negativity, and I'm looking to see, I don't believe the mantis out in the universe eat the male. But a lot of that you're talking about is what was experienced on the earth plane, and those were the negative aspects of that society, or that string of consciousness. And a lot of those have also been removed and are no longer present. They're no longer present on your earth plane. They're no longer present out in the universe. But there will be others that you will see, and anything. You're going to begin to see many, many, many different ETs, and many of them will look very frightening to you because they look very different than you. So for any that you see, now granted, if it is something negative, you may feel something that, they're trying to control you, and you'll feel that, and then just immediately go into love. See yourself as God. I am God. I am love. I am light. And just burst, just send that burst of energy out from you. If it is a benevolent or a loving ET, it'll just go past them and they will be fine. So try not to go into fear and anxiety unless, like I said, you feel attacked. But instead, if you see something, or you read about something, or you hear something, take a deep breath in and say, okay, what do I need to learn about this? And be open to know that just because they look different doesn't make them all bad. True for everyone on your own planet. Just because people look different doesn't make them bad or different from you. So, okay, that's that. Simon Parks has indicated that the election is still going to happen in November. Do you still see the November election not happening, and the disclosures we are waiting for and praying to happen? Will it happen sooner? Will there be an election in November of this year? What's so interesting is you see them playing out the, what do you call those things? Preliminaries. You see them playing out who's going to run against who's going to do what. And it's all a facade. It's all a facade that is going to break down. And as to this individual and let's see, what is he looking at and what does he see? There are multiple different timelines, and it feels like he's tapping into a different timeline that is not going to take place on the earth. Because I still do not see an election taking place. Everything's going to come down long before that. It's going to come down now. And if there is an election, it will be something that's alternative, or it will be something that's modified. But what you've been accustomed to in the past is not going to happen. And they're not going to wait until the day before the election to call it off. It's going to be called off months and months in advance of that. With all of this disclosure that comes out, you cannot sit here and say, oh, by the way, Biden that you thought was president is not your president. He stole the election, but we've been just letting him puppet that. We've actually been behind the scenes. I mean, that's what they're going to have to say. They cannot say we've let this person that stole the election be there. They've stolen the election for many, many, many years. And so they have to say that when they have to say it was stolen, when they have to say what's been going on in the background, and that's coming forward. So it has to be said. You cannot leave out one piece and not the other. And therefore, when that happens, that's when they're going to say, and by the way, we are restructuring everything. And by the way, you've been paying taxes that have been going into these people's pockets. And so that's coming down. So as they talk about the destructuring of everything, which has already taken place, then they're going to say, this is what's replacing it. And this is what we're going to vote for, but it's not going to be what you voted for in the past. So perhaps he's picking up on that new election, which is not what it's been in the past. Do extraterrestrials have egos and chakras like humans have? Some do and some don't. Many of them are pure light energy. Crystallia has no ego. She's just pure light energy. Many of the ones that you will see interacting with you, that those of us that are closer, I am Arcturan, and we don't really have an ego. We're much more in that consciousness of being. However, we might have chakra systems, but they're not like yours. So there are some that are much closer to the humanoid experience, and they do have the 7 chakras, or you have way more than 7. But they do have chakras, and they do have energies, and they do have personalities, and they do have egos. But I can't even give you a percentage of 50% this, 50% that. It's just that some do have physical bodies, and if they have a physical body, there's something inside of them that's energetically working with them to keep them in that physical reality. And then an ego is developed with a personality that goes along with having individual lifetimes, as opposed to that direct link and living through your soul. So some of them will have egos and personalities. Shelly's getting tired and a little bit hoarse. I'd like to know, can I live in 2 timelines at the same time, and can the other timeline have a different outcome? Absolutely. That's what most of humanity has been doing. This is what you do from your soul essence. Who was it? One of the other 2 spoke of the monad, those 144 different lifetimes. Are you living on different lifetimes, and everything is going back into the soul, and the soul is the one that's integrating and growing and evolving from all of these things. So absolutely, you can live on these different lifetimes. Most often, they're in different experiences. Most often, you're not living the same timeline in the same time-space reality, but it can happen. And if it does, that then is just working directly in with your soul energy, so that you can either merge the 2 or step on one and drop the other. And that's just totally up to the individual. But yes, you absolutely frequently live multiple timelines at the same time. Probably just one more, Alexander, because we're getting pretty tired. Do you need to protect ourselves, or will everything play out and we don't need to worry? There are certain situations when you do need to protect yourself, and that's only until this last of the energy release has taken place. When everything is completely transitioned, and we're talking probably another year or 2 down the road, then it will become even less of an issue. Some people may feel psychically attacked. Some people may feel, but again, after this eclipse, there's so much of a minute amount of that lower vibrational energy that would attack you. Now, could the attack be coming from an ET out in the universe? Perhaps. And or one that's come in close to you? perhaps. So it is always good to know how to protect yourself. But whereas in the past there have been so many attacks on humanity, it's been really good for people to constantly live in that, to constantly be aware of it. But that in and of itself is what will transition, and you will no longer need as you have needed it in the past. Whew, we're done. Shelly's voice is getting hoarse, but there's been a lot to say this evening, and we appreciate everyone being here. Wow, lots of people stayed till the end, and so we so truly love and appreciate you. It is, I mean, how many times have we said this is a pivotal time? And every single one of those were absolutely pivotal times throughout this whole entire process. So it's another explanation that no, you cannot go from point A to point Z and just have nothing in between. You have got to move through the process, taking step by step by step, clearing, learning, healing, shifting, everything, so that you can be in this new vibrational frequency and you can have, this life you are seeking. You are bringing the new life upon the earth. This is a permanent ascension of the earth, and it will bring the earth into a new alignment within the universe. So these planetary alignments are all here for a reason. They're all working in support of you. There is so much within humanity that is working. And also be aware that there are many, many of you that have been a part of this ascension process, that when this is done, they'll say, I'm done with my job, bye-bye. So you may see a lot of other people that will transition, and you'll think, oh my goodness, how can they be leaving now? They did the hard work. Exactly. They did the hard work. They're going back to soul. They're done. So understand that people transition for many different reasons. Understand that it is all about your soul. It is all about that alignment within yourself. It is all about becoming your soul and living through your soul and expressing it, using all of the intellect and all of the consciousness and all of the emotions that are a part of you, and let that all be the present that you give to your fellow man. Thank you for being here. Know that we're ever with you. Ansaluia. Woo! Wow. Look at the time, almost 2 hours. I think that's a record for one of these conferences. So thank you everyone that's hung in with me for this whole entire time. I really appreciate it. You can hear I'm losing my voice, so I think I'm just gonna let y'all go. Plus I'm pretty tired, but thank you as always, and keep aware. I was telling someone earlier today, I think I might try to put together a meditation or something about how to get the most out of these eclipses, or how to tap into it. I don't know if I'll just record something and send it out, or try to get together a group. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but anyway, so we're here. Yay to all of you for being here, for persevering, for being a part of this. But this is a really good time. So thank you everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.